Hey everybody, hey, this is Bill with I Ride RV Adventures. Just thought I'd shoot a quick update for you. I don't have a whole lot to show you, but kind of show you what I've been working on here. Here it is Sunday. Turned out to be another beautiful day. The temperature's in the mid-50s, very little wind here in northwest Arkansas. Sun shining brightly. I really like it when the sun shines. I cannot stand overcast days. It's always a problem with me. Does something to my attitude. But anyway, I have a really good attitude. I'm a little tired. I've been working pretty hard this morning. My wife's been cracking the whip, standing over me, shouting out orders. You know, do this, do that, all that kind of stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about. But anyway. She's excited about getting this thing done. So let me step over here, step on through the yard here. I didn't have a whole lot of room here to show you much on the front. I got all my cars parked in precarious positions and everything. But first let me show you here in my workshop. Been cutting up a bunch of stuff and making some stuff. You see all these things here. Now these are some studs I made, and I'm not going to be using all of them. In fact, I probably won't be using very many of them. It's just that I had all the material purchased, so that's what I went ahead and cut them up just in case I find places to use them on other projects. But they measure 1.5 inches by 1 inch, and I'll tell you what I'm going to be using them for. And something else we did too is we painted one side and one edge with kills. And that is to help with moisture issues. I've seen some comments on some of the Facebook pages, the cargo trailer Facebook pages that I'm affiliated with, and where some guys had showed some photos of where they, in really cold weather, they had condensation build up between the outside wall and the plywood on the inside, and it actually, like a frozen area there where water had crystallized and frozen on the inside of the trailer. So I'm thinking, well, if I got those condensation issues, I wonder if maybe I should try to do something to protect the wood. So our plan is we did that on these little studs that I'm going to be using here and there in certain spots, and I'm going to show you a little more about that in a second. And we also plan on painting the inside of all of the interior paneling, the 3/8 plywood paneling that came out of the trailer that's going to go back in after we get all the insulation hung. And we're going to go ahead and paint the inside of that with the kills, and that will help with moisture at least on the inside. And once we get the panels back up inside the trailer, before we hang our beadboard, which is what we're planning on putting on the walls in the trailer, probably before we hang the beadboard, we may go ahead and paint the other side of the plywood as well, the side that faces the inside of the trailer, with Lexel as well. Just for it wasn't that expensive. It's like under $20 for a gallon, and a gallon will do all of it with no problem. And just a little bit more insurance as far as moisture is concerned, and that's because we do have issues in some of these conversions with condensation and things like that. So let's take a few extra precautions there. Whether it'll work or not, I don't know, but hey, we're doing it, so there you go. Now let me step into the trailer here. And by the way, I hope the quality of this video, as far as the picture is concerned, turns out a little bit better than the last one did. I was shooting it on a lower quality because I was going to be uploading it using LTE, cell phone LTE network, and I wasn't real satisfied with the actual picture quality of the video. So I'm going back in and trying it with a better quality setting on the camera, and we'll see how long it takes to upload it. Now, if you remember last time, we're going to have the hot water tank up here in the nose, and I told you I was going to be making these backing plates. Well, I went ahead and made them, and we also painted them on the other side with the kills, and we've already installed them. The one there you see there, the one here right there, That one is the backing plate. That is where the outdoor shower setup will go, and that will give us some meat to screw into when I cut the hole out for that apparatus, and then screw it to the outside. I'll have plenty of meat there to screw into. The panel right next to it is where the city water and the onboard water inlet is going to mount. It's going to be on the other side of the wall, of course, coming through that panel. And here again, we did that so we'd have some meat. Now you'll see I've got some little short pieces stuck in here and there. I ran out of wall panel, so I've got to make up some more panels. And the way I made these panels, because my studs are 1 inch thick, I took 1/2 inch plywood and cut the sheet in half, and then I laminated it together using tight bond wood glue, and then I ran several screws through it to hold it in place until the glue set up, and then I pulled the screws back out, and then I end up with a 1 inch thick panel, and then I ripped them up into the pieces that I need. Now the water tank, remember the onboard water tank is going to go fairly close to where you see that stool right there, right in that area, right in there is where it's going to go, and I'll be running a cold water line from there all the way up to the hot water tank at the nose. So I found these really cool clips that you can screw into the wall that the PEX pipe can mount to, and it keeps it really good and secure. So I wanted to have here again, I wanted to have some good meat on the inside to screw those to make them really good and secure. So I'm cutting these little 6 inch backing plates, and they'll run all along this side. I've still got to make some more, and come around the corner and end up there at the front. And that way when I screw those little clips in, I'll have plenty of meat to screw them into, and we'll have my lines really good and secure. So that's what we're doing there. Now, I mentioned before that we are going to have a flat screen TV on this wall here, and it'll be right at the foot of the bed. And of course the headboard of the bed will be on this side over here, which is the passenger side of the trailer, if you will. So the 50 inch flat screen TV, well, I know, awful big TV for only being 7 feet away from it, but that's the TV we have, so that's the one we're going to use. And we just don't see quite as good as we used to. Anyway, so I made some backing plates that will fit in these cavities right here, which will be backup for when I screw in the mounting rack that will hold the TV. And the way I will get them at the proper height is when we start cutting the 1 inch foam insulation and stacking it in, we'll cut it just to the right height that it needs to be for the backing plates for the TV, and then we'll glue them in above the styrofoam, and then of course finish out the rest of it with styrofoam to the ceiling. And that's how we'll hold those plates in. But here again, I wanted to have some backing plates there, so when I mount my TV, and I won't be going down the road, folks. I will not be going down the road with my TV hanging on the wall. I know better than that. But, when I do hang it on the wall, I want to make sure there's plenty of support for it whenever we end up where we're going and spending 2 weeks before we move on down the road. So that's why we're doing that. Now those studs that I made, and I've got one right here, I don't like the way when the interior paneling comes together at the joints, which you've got 2 8-foot long pieces of plywood that run from the front to the back, and where they come together in the center, they don't have a whole lot of room right here to put a screw on either side of the joint in the plywood that comes to the end to end right there. So actually my real purpose in making these studs is to put one on either side of the stud like that. Put one on either side, and then I'll have a lot more area there to screw in the paneling. I can use some wood screws to put that back in, as well as the sheet metal screws that I saved that came out of here. So we'll have a little bit more to grab that on either side. And I'm also going to do that in addition to that at every place where there's an exterior seam in the aluminum siding on the outside, in the aluminum paneling on the outside, I should say. So we'll overlap that. And it just so happens where this plywood, the plywood on the inside comes together here, there's also a seam on the outside as well. So when I put this stud on either side here, then I will use some of the sealer and put a bead of that sealer on the inside of this stud and on this edge here. And then when I put that in there and stick it together, that'll just be that much more insurance as far as possible leaks down the road where water can get in between the joints of the aluminum panels on the outside. So actually on each side of the trailer, I'll be doing 3 sets of these, because you've got 4, this is a 16-foot trailer, so you've got 4 4-foot wide panels down that goes down each side, and which that means you've got 3 seams. So I'll be doing 3 sets of these where I have a stud, a wood stud on either side of the metal stud. And here again, when I lay those wood studs up there and secure them, I'll be securing them with a sealer on the edge and also on the back side, which will be that much more insurance as far as possible water leaks down the road. You know, it doesn't cost much to do it, doesn't take me much time, and it's just a little bit more insurance. That's all I'm thinking about, is just a little bit more insurance. So that's why we're doing that. Now, this one up here, this panel you see right here, that is where the power inlet will come in from the outside. And then I've also cut another panel that I would be gluing up right in here somewhere, and that's where the power panel will be, where the regular house style 100 amp service breaker panel will be, is right there. And here again, when I go to lay it up, and there it is, it's laying right down there. When I go to lay it up, I'll cut the styrofoam to the height that needs to be, glue it into place, and then I will glue that panel on top of the styrofoam and then finish out the rest of the cavity with styrofoam above it. And here again, that will give me a good place to really bite and hold the screws. A lot of folks don't realize how much jarring and stuff goes on when you're towing these trailers down the road. And so, you know, I'm just doing these little things to give me a little bit more insurance as far as making sure that everything is good and secure. That's it. Some will say that I'm going way overboard. Yeah, that's okay. If that's what I'm doing for me, that's what I'm doing for me. You know, it's just for my benefit. You know, but I'm just showing you what I'm doing in case you take this idea and maybe utilize it in another fashion on your build. That's all I'm doing. You know, so and again, where you see this backing plate up there, that is where I'll be mounting a motion sensor porch light on the outside, which will be above the door. And we also did another one right up here above the back door as well. So here again, we've got places there where we can secure the motion sensor porch lights as well. Anyway, these are just little things I'm doing. The next time I post a video, we'll have a lot more accomplished. We'll have these little studs in place that I was telling you about. All the backing plates will be mounted everywhere. All the backing plates where the TV will mount will be up. All that stuff will be there, and hopefully I'll have the plywood back up. But what I'll try to do before I hang the interior plywood back up, I'll try to shoot a video after all the insulation is completed and all the backing plates are in place and all of the additional studs are in place, and then show you exactly what I was talking about as far as that goes. So it's a slow process right now, but I'm beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will, because once we get this up and we get the interior plywood back on, everything is going to start going real good after that, because then we can go ahead and hang our bead board, and we're going to go with white bead board on the inside of the trailer. Once we get that up, then we can start building the benches on either side where the bed will also be. We can go ahead and mount the shower, how we're going to be doing it. We can go ahead and start mounting the cabinets, or building cabinets and mounting them. And but you know, it's that basic stuff first that takes the time. And of course, I'll probably find out later that all the other stuff takes time too, which we all know it does. But and here again, I know I'm a little on the anal side. So, hey, give me a break. So, anyway, but let me point this out one more time, because I've had, a couple comments on that. Why am I going so far overboard? Why am I going so in depth? And, I don't need this and I don't need that. And one commenter even said that I don't even need to carry onboard water, because he suggested that maybe I just simply carry a series of 5-gallon jugs to carry water in. And rather than have a pressurized shower system, just use a pump up sprayer with a nozzle. And I understand that if I was just going to go camping on the weekends and stuff like that, that would be great. That's probably what I would do. But we're not going to go just camping on the weekends. We're going to go on a 4 to 6 month long trip with this thing. And why I want as many conveniences as I can possibly have to make it as simple as possible. I guess really what I should say, instead of saying that we're doing a cargo conversion, this is actually more like a tiny house. We're actually going to be building this more on the fashion of a tiny house, and still keeping in mind weight and balance and things like that. So, and one more thing about that, because one commenter said, well, it sounds like you're going to be at places where you wouldn't need to carry onboard water anyway, because you're going to be, and yeah, we're going to be staying mostly at federal parks, Corps of Engineer parks and things like that, to take advantage of our golden pass that we have. But there's something you probably don't realize. Not every single Corps of Engineer park has full hookups. Some of them will have electric and water. Some of them will have electric, water, and sewer on the site. And some of them will just simply have electric. And then, of course, there's a few that don't have any at all. So we're carrying onboard water because we like to stay at several different parks, and we're going to be staying at some Corps of Engineer parks that will not have water at the site. So we will have to carry water, or fill up our tank before we come on in. So yeah, that's why we're going to have onboard water. So that's one reason why we're going to carry it. And I don't need to go any further than that. I don't need to explain myself, but I feel like sometimes I should, because some folks tend to misunderstand what the purpose of this trailer is going to be. But anyway, still, we keep getting more and more subscribers all the time. I'm so excited about that. We're up around 450 or so now, and it's awesome, folks. We appreciate that. We really, really do. Like I say, this build is not for everybody. This is what we're doing for us, and I'm simply showing you what we're doing and the reasons why we're doing what we're doing. So anyway, I appreciate the comments, and we get a ton of positive comments, and we get a few that just want to argue, and so what can I say? You build your trailer, I'll build mine. Anyway, this is Bill with I Ride RV Adventures. You all have a good day. Hope you have a good week coming up. And here in the next week or so, hopefully I'll be able to show you, at least with all the insulation up and ready to hang the interior plywood, so you can see more of what I'm talking about what we're doing here and there. Y'all take care, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.